What up, athletes? Whoop, whoop. All right, let's do this real quick. We're going to bust through 10.1. Here's your warm-up. Your learning target should be up above in the comments. It is, I will use multiplication properties of exponents to simplify expressions. I had to look up on the board for that one, sorry. Here's your warm-up. Let's go ahead and do it. Pause me if you want to do it yourself. Please do it yourself. And then push play, and I'm going to keep going. So I don't wait a lot on these videos because I'm assuming you're pausing. All right. 3 to the 5th just means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which I would figure out by saying, all right, that's 9 times 9 times 3. That's 81 times 3, which is 243. Boosh. See, 2 to the 3rd times 2 to the 4th is really going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So let's see. I know 3 2's makes 8. 3 more 2's makes times 8. And then times 2. 8 times 8 is 64. Times 2 equals 128. Boom. Right here. Keep this in mind. This negative inside is inside the parentheses, and on the outside is the square. So this becomes negative 3 times negative 3, and then times 3 to the 5th, which we already know is 243. Okay? So then what does that become? Positive 9. Negative times negative is a positive 9. 9 times 243, I don't know. It's 2,000 and something. Yep, 2187. And last but not least, we have 3 squared, which is just 3 times 3 times 2 to the 4th. And then times negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. Almost ran out of room. So this is just 9. I know 3 2's is 8, times 2 is 16, so those are 16 times 16. And then negative times negative makes this a positive. Positive times negative is negative, so times negative 1, right? So 9 times 16 is just 90 and 54, or 144 times negative 1 is negative 144. Boom. Okay, that's how we work these out. Now we're going to look at some notes. You have 2 things. One is monomial. Let's go to that. And I want you to pause this. I'm not going to leave it on here long because you can pause it for a video. Also going to go to the next slide. Okay, and we're going to talk about products of powers. You'll see that on your notes. Go ahead and write down the words, write down the symbols, and write down the examples inside the provided area right here in your packet. So let me go back there. I'll tell you, pause it. All right, I'm assuming you paused it. I'm moving on. We're going to go down below. So notice what is all we're doing. B to the squared times b to the 4th is just b to the 2 plus 4 or b to the 6th. Right? Worked out perfectly. So let's do some examples now. Now, when you have numbers and letters, you got to organize them. So I'm going to reorganize this as 2 times negative 3 times n to the 3rd times n to the 5th. All I did is reorganize the multiplication. These were all multiplied together. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And that's going to be n to the 3 plus 5, which is negative 6 n to the 8th. And then let's go ahead and zoom on down here so you can see a little better. But also let's do this. Try and do this one by yourself. Ready, set, go. All right. So I'm going to reorganize this as a squared times a times b squared times c cubed times c cubed. Notice, if they're just a letter, they don't have an exponent, that exponent's actually 1. You don't have to write it there, but it'll help you with your addition. So this becomes a to the 2 plus 1, b to the 1 plus 2, and c to the 3 plus 3, which is just a cubed, b cubed, c to the 6th. Awesome. Let's go on to our next set of notes. Ready, set? You can always pause this if you need to. Okay, go ahead and write these notes down. Again, I'm just going to pause it here in a minute, but this is the power of a power. So whenever you raise, we have a letter raised to an exponent, with an exponent raised to another power. We're just going to multiply those powers together. So b to the 2nd power raised to the 4th power is b to the 2 times 4, or b to the 8th power. D, I think it's a d, to the 3rd power raised to the 7th is just d to the 3 times 7, or d to the 21st power. Okay? We just multiply them. All right. I'm moving. Pause if you need to. Gotta go. Here we go. Let's go. So take a minute, see if you can fill in these as best you can. Pause it. Awesome. So what do we have here? We have n to the 7 times 4, which equals n to the 28th. Down here would be x to the 3 times 10, or x to the 30th. And down here, just do it times 8. We're going to distribute that 5, right? So it's going to be a to the 2 times 5, b to the 3 times 5, or a to the 10th, b to the 15th. Awesome. Last set of notes for today. Again, pause this if you need to. All right, write down power of a product. Again, pause it, write it down because we're not sticking on it too long. This just says if I have 2 letters next to each other, or a number and a letter or anything, and they're all being raised to a power, then I distribute that power, kind of like we did in the problem in the last version. We got some examples we're going to do. So again, pause this if you need more time. I'm going back to do the examples. And what do we see? All right, simplify 2 times xy to the 3rd power. Notice the 2 is not in the parentheses, therefore it's just 2. And then we're going to put that, distribute that 3 to both those, the x and the y, and we're going to have x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. And that is as much as you can do with this problem right now. What happens if the 2 is in the parentheses? Well, then it's going to be 2 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. What's 2 to the 3rd? Well, that's 2. Times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So 8, x to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. All right, and again, we're just distributing this 2. So I'm going to add 9 to the 2nd power times x to the negative 4 times 2, which is negative 8 power, and y, 2 to the 2 times 8, which is 16th power. Awesome. And let's finish it off, 81, x to the negative 8, y to the 16th. And last but not least, we're going to distribute this 5. So I have, and this includes the negative, so I'm going to have negative 2 to the 5th power. A to the 10 times 5 is 50th, and b to the 20th. So, what's negative 2 to the 5th power? Well, first of all, if it's an odd power and you have a negative, your answer is going to be negative. And then we know 2 to the 4th is 16, so times 2 is 32. Again, a to the 50th, b to the 20th. Oosh, right there, it's good. And our last problem we're going to work on is this nice little Rubik's Cube problem, which honestly is not bad at all. Puzzle cube is solved by having all 9 squares on each side be the same color. If a side of each of the 9 squares is xy centimeters long, then what is the volume of the prize? The only thing we care about is that this is xy, which means this square will be xy, and this square will be xy. So what is that? That's 3 xy's. So each side, so the length equals 3 xy. But think about it. This is xy, is xy, is xy. This is also 3 xy. And in fact, the height of it is also 3 xy. How many 3 xy's do we have? We have 3 of them. So to find the volume of this, to have Remember, volume equals length times width times height, which is 3xy times 3xy times 3xy, or 3xy to the third power. And we can finish that off. What is it? It's 9, because 3 to the third power. Well, I guess we can write that. 3 to the third power, x to the third power, y to the third power. And that would become, well, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. 27x cubed, y to the third. Look at that. Good math. With that said, peace out.